Fans are now suspecting that Todd Chrisley never truly supported Donald Trump, but just wanted the pardon. This could be true, as supporting Trump was truly the only way they would have gotten out of prison. However, a lot of things from the past are not lining up with what they say now. Fans have also noticed some changes in Savannah. There is a lot to unfold and uncover when it comes to this. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. The Chrisleys were in prison for tax evasion and fraud. They were locked away for over 2 years. However, their daughter, Savannah, was fighting for their freedom every step of the way. She was also supporting Trump loudly and proudly the entire time. Savannah was always repping the MAGA gear and posting about Trump. However, since her parents got released, she has not been doing this as much. Fans have noticed that her political posts have not been as often, and no one is complaining about that. However, it has led fans to question if she was doing all of that for the right reasons. Fans are now thinking that Todd Chrisley has never truly supported Trump, only when he could get a pardon. In 2015, he made a post saying he was conservative with his money, but liberal with his views. Now fans are all confused. Yikes. Maybe Todd did not support Trump until it was convenient for him. It seems as though fans think that Todd could have been lying about his support for Trump just in order to get pardoned. Fans would not put this past them, as they knew this was the only way it was going to happen. Savannah has also not been wearing her MAGA gear or posting about Trump nearly as much as she used to. What do you think about this? Do you think they only supported him for the pardon? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. Todd Chrisley has long been one of reality television's most polarizing figures. From the polished Southern patriarch on Chrisley Knows Best to a man weathering scandal, prison time, and public scrutiny, his life has unfolded like a modern-day soap opera. Yet one of the strangest claims floating among fans and critics alike is that Chrisley's supposed ties to Donald Trump were never rooted in political conviction. Instead, whispers suggest his connection was nothing more than a calculated move to seek clemency, a pardon to escape the shadow of his conviction. This speculation has ignited fierce debates online, with some painting Chrisley as a master manipulator and others as a desperate man clinging to survival. The public persona versus the private calculation stud Chrisley always portrayed himself as the quintessential conservative Southerner, family-centered, God-fearing, and impeccably dressed. For many, this image seamlessly aligned with the traditional values of right-leaning America. However, those who followed him closely noticed that he rarely made public endorsements, campaign statements, or overtly political remarks. His brand was entertainment, not policy. When his legal troubles began to mount, however, there appeared to be a sudden shift. Fan forums noted how Chrisley's tone seemed to soften toward Trump-era politics. Social media posts hinted at admiration for authority figures who wielded power decisively. Yet skeptics believe this was less about ideology and more about setting the stage for a strategic appeal. If his case could somehow reach the desk of the president, maybe mercy would follow. The pardon playbook. In the waning days of Trump's presidency, a wave of pardon requests surged. High-profile celebrities, business moguls, and politicians alike scrambled to plead their cases. Reality stars, too, tried to catch the outgoing president's attention. Chrisley, embroiled in financial fraud charges and serving a lengthy sentence, seemed like a man who might leap at the chance. Fans began piecing together timelines, matching up Chrisley's subtle comments with the frenzy of pardon petitions. Unlike vocal Trump supporters, he had no long record of rallies or campaign contributions to point to. The sudden interest in Trump's leadership felt opportunistic. Critics argued it was not about loyalty, but about loopholes. A pardon was a golden ticket, and aligning with Trump, even superficially, was a gamble worth taking. Online fan theories across Reddit threads, fan pages, and YouTube breakdowns, a consistent theory emerged. Todd Chrisley had never truly supported Trump. Instead, he had courted the image of a potential ally because he knew how to play the optics. His polished persona, once carefully tailored for family television, was now allegedly being rebranded for political favor. One fan dissected Chrisley's rare public references to Trump, noting how they appeared strategically timed around his legal setbacks. Others argued that Chrisley's fashion-conscious, show business identity clashed too strongly with Trump's rugged populist appeal for any genuine alignment to exist. To them, this was a mask, another carefully staged performance. A desperate gamble those closest to the Chrisley saga suggest desperation, not devotion, was the driver. Facing years behind bars, the reality star had little left to lose. His reputation was crumbling, his finances entangled in scandal, and his family fractured under the weight of courtroom drama. To some, pivoting toward Trump was less about politics and more about survival. In this view, Chrisley was like a man stranded at sea, signaling to the nearest passing ship regardless of its flag. The pardon represented hope, however slim, and Trump's record of pardoning celebrities and allies emboldened the idea that perhaps Todd's name might join the list. The image of manipulation skeptics argue that Chrisley's alleged pardon play reveals something deeper about his character. His entire career, they say, has been built on appearances: lavish homes, designer suits, picture-perfect family dynamics. But behind that facade lurked debt, deception, and scandal. Aligning with Trump for personal gain would simply be an extension of that strategy, crafting whatever narrative served him best in the moment. For these critics, the pardon rumors were never about politics at all. They were about manipulation. Chrisley, in their eyes, was simply using Trump as the latest accessory in his arsenal of survival tactics. Fans divided. Not all fans buy into the theory. Some argue that even if Chrisley did angle for a pardon, it was not unique. Many others did the same, including individuals with far stronger political connections. Why single him out? To these defenders, Chrisley was simply playing the same game as countless others caught in legal binds. Others insist that while opportunistic, the move does not erase the possibility that Chrisley held genuine admiration for Trump's leadership style. After all, both men projected confidence, thrived on branding, and reveled in the spotlight. Perhaps the bond was less about politics and more about personality parallels. The reality TV lens to fully understand the fan suspicion, one must also consider the culture of reality television itself. These shows thrive on perception, crafting characters that blur the line between authenticity and performance. Todd Chrisley was both a man and a brand, and viewers were trained to look for the cracks in his presentation. When the pardon rumors surfaced, fans didn't just see a legal maneuver, they saw another plotline in the ongoing soap opera of his life. Was this the latest twist? Was Chrisley the clever anti-hero playing every angle? Or was he the tragic figure grasping at straws? Reality TV had conditioned them to search for narrative arcs, and this one fit the bill perfectly. Timing is everything. One of the most suspicious details, according to critics, was the timing. Chrisley's apparent warming toward Trump coincided almost exactly with his trial, sentencing, and appeals. Prior to that, there was little evidence of outspoken support. This synchronicity deepened the theory that his political posturing was tactical rather than heartfelt. What this says about celebrity culture, that Chrisley Trump pardon theory, is more than gossip. It reflects how celebrity culture and politics have become intertwined. In modern America, fame itself is a currency that can be traded for influence, access, or even mercy. Chrisley's alleged maneuvering symbolizes the blurred lines between entertainment and governance, where pardons can appear as prizes for those with the right connections or visibility. The legacy of the rumor, whether or not Todd Chrisley ever genuinely sought Trump's pardon, the rumor has cemented itself as part of his legacy. Fans now discuss his politics not in terms of ideology, but in terms of strategy. To them, Chrisley is not a man of conviction, but of convenience, adapting to circumstances with the same ease he once changed wardrobes. The very persistence of the rumor speaks to the mistrust surrounding his persona. Once you've been convicted of deception, every future act is viewed through the same lens. Aligning with Trump may have been temporary or calculated, but the fan narrative insists it was never authentic. In the end, the loudest voices in this debate may not even be political analysts, but the very fans who once adored him. Their suspicions form a chorus of doubt that Chrisley never truly stood for Trump, that he only wanted an escape hatch from prison, that the supposed loyalty was another costume in a long career of performances. For Chrisley, this suspicion is damning in its own way. Even if untrue, it paints him as a man willing to barter his public image for self-preservation. To his critics, it is proof that his convictions, political or personal, were as manufactured as the sets of his reality show.